What is going on, YouTube people? I come to you live from Fanatics, our new sports card overlords. So, the news came down yesterday that they officially locked up the NBA. I think it's 2026 or something. Absolutely no surprise. NBA and NBA PA. NFL's next. We all knew that this was coming. This is not earth-shattering news. I didn't even make a video about it yesterday because we all knew that this was happening last week. It's just official now. So just now that we've had not quite a week to marinate on this a little bit, I've had some additional thoughts, listened to some other people's takes. Agree with a lot of them. A lot of them make a lot of sense. So I just kind of wanted to put my own spin on things. I mentioned it on Sunday's video. Listen to a lot of the stuff Sports Card Radio had to say. Who else? A bunch of different people. There were so many videos. And I tried to watch as many of them as I could. Just to get the different takes, different angles, different perspectives. So I just kind of have some general thoughts on where I think all these shenanigans are heading. So like, comment, sub, all the YouTube stuff down below. And let's get into some speculation territory, I guess. So I do firmly believe that they are going to make an aggressive play for Topps to just straight buy them, I believe. That's how I think this plays out. If the people that I'm most concerned for, and this was my biggest takeaway, and I kind of agree. I was already going down this line of thought, but the Sports Card Radio guys kind of cemented it in my mind. If right now you have a business in the hobby and your business is middleman, you're making a profit because you're getting product at reduced prices and then reselling it on the other side at higher prices, like distributors or breakers with direct accounts that are getting stuff at wholesale or whatever. I would be extremely concerned, to be quite frank, because I have to imagine all that stuff goes away. Fanatics doesn't overpay for the license and dump a bunch of money into sports cards and then not immediately look at ways that the old guard was not profitable on that stuff. And they're going to look at it, and they don't care that people have been buddy-buddy with Topps and Panini and whatever for all these years and have relationships with all these distributors and hookups and connections and backroom deals. They're going to come in, and they're going to say, why am I selling you a case of X for $1,000 that you are now going out and reselling for $10,000, whether it's breaking or selling the boxes whole, whatever. They're going to say, I'll just go direct to consumer and I'll sell it for $10,000 and just cut you right out of the picture. So if you're somewhere in that middleman market, I would be sweating bullets. And if you had a shop and you already had distribution deals lined up or direct account access and all that stuff lined up, and you heavily relied on that, I would be very concerned. If your shop does some business with that, but also does a lot of stuff with singles, maybe you'll be okay. We don't know what the model is going to look like once they fully take over, but I can guarantee if they even keep LCSs in the loop on stuff, there's no way you're getting as big a discounts on it as what you were before. And we're all kind of hoping that they keep LCSs in the loop, but there's a real chance that they're just nah, we'll allow you to purchase product from us, maybe specialty product, but it's going to be close to full price because otherwise I'll just sell it myself. That's the thing with Fanatics. They are, everyone that you ever talk to, any video that you've heard about them, they're all about vertical integration, which essentially means they want to control it all. They don't want to share the pie with anybody. The pie is all theirs. And I think you're naive to think that they're going to come in the sports cards and still share the pie with other people. Maybe they understand, maybe someone in a room sits down and goes, no, we understand that we do need the support of LCSs. So they'll get something, maybe a hobby exclusive boxes or something will still exist that won't be sold on their website, but it will be sold to LCSs. But I doubt LCSs will get a major discount on them like they did in the past. It'll probably be used as a draw to get people into the store to purchase things from them. But I have to imagine that there won't be a bunch of room on those like they're getting now with direct accounts. And maybe I'm completely off base on all this nonsense. I've never owned a card store. I've never worked in a card store. I'm just looking at this from an outsider on what businesses do when they come into new markets like this and how they are looking at this to maximize profit and efficiency. And the first thing that they're going to do is cut people out. If I was at DA Card World, a Blowout, any of those middlemen people, I would be sweating. If I was a breaker that had direct account, I would be sweating. Maybe breakers could still do okay by getting, if say it's a 10K box of NT and they get it for $9.5 and then upcharge it slightly because, people can't afford a 10K box of NT or whatever it is. And they want to, buy microtransactions essentially of that product. Then they can add a little premium on top of that because they're selling you an individual team or whatever. But you'll still be able to maybe make profit off that, but your margins are going to be much smaller. So that gets tricky. And who's to say that Fanatics doesn't offer breaks on their own? Or I heard someone speculate a couple different places. What if they go an Upper Deck EPAC route? Where it's, if you really spin this thing out, do they have it that, yeah, sure, you can have the box shipped home to you if you want to rip yourself, or you could just rip it online. The cards will be automatically uploaded into your account like EPAC on Upper Deck, and then you can buy, sell, trade them from there, kind of like think Star Stock. And, send them the grading. Do they get their own grading company? I don't know. Do they start their own? The thing with Fanatics is just assume that they're going to want to control anything that adds value or that they can make a profit off of in the card industry. So if that means a marketplace to be able to buy, sell, and trade on, then they're going to want to cut of that action. If it's a grading company, they're going to want to cut of that action to grade the cards themselves and keep all that money in-house. Whether it's a partnership with PSA or they go out and either make their own or buy their own. Dakota and I's favorite game to play is someone should buy Star Stock. Who's to say Fanatics doesn't come in, buy Star Stock, and then all of a sudden you have their version of Star Stock, or maybe they create their own from the ground up. They have time. And, you think EPAC, Upper Deck plus Star Stock, but sports cards. And, you rip the pack, they'll automatically put a light grade on it, Fanatics A, Fanatics B, and then you can send it off to Fanatics Grading to get graded. And maybe they go after an existing grading company. That's the other thing. We've been speculating for a year about, maybe someone will buy out SGC. They're like the prime candidate to get purchased. Does Fanatics go after SGC and buy out SGC and rebrand them as their own thing? And then, okay, now you rip the box online. It gets uploaded to your EPAC. We'll lightly grade it. And then if you want to submit it to Fanatics Grading, we'll grade it too. And then we'll put it back in your vault for storage. And then you could buy, sell, or trade it from there. All the meanwhile, we take a very small percentage for the convenience of moving these things around for you on a physical platform, but digitally on your inventory or whatever. And then heaven forbid you actually want the thing shipped home. We could do that too. That's the type of stuff you need to be thinking about with Fanatics, because that's the type of stuff that they want to do. They are going to want to control every single aspect from the time the card gets printed to the card being resold between collector, investor, flipper, whatever. They're going to want all of it, and they're going to want to cut out of all of it. So they will at least offer the services, is my prediction. Maybe not day one, but I think that's their end game, is to control it all. So I mentioned earlier, I do think they still buy out Topps. I think that's a logical choice. Topps is pretty much DOA right now. They have soccer, they have F1. It is what it is. I think they make a strong play for Topps since they're pennies on the dollar now, and Topps was looking to sell anyway. Panini is the interesting one. I've gone back and forth on this. I initially thought they'll just straight up buy out Panini. I actually think it makes more sense for them to buy out Topps and then buy IP from Panini, or brands, if you will. So Panini is a Euro-based company, Italy for the most part, and they have a pretty decent Euro sticker business still. So Panini could say, all right, forget this US sports card stuff. Let's just go back to our roots. We're downsized as a company, sell off pieces and parts to Fanatics, and then we'll go back to just being the sticker people and go make some soccer stuff or whatever, and kind of exit the US market for the most part, and still do maybe some sticker stuff or whatever. What that would allow to happen is Fanatics could come to them and say, listen, we don't want to buy your whole company, but we want to buy some parts of your company. We would like to purchase the IP rights for Prism, Donruss, National Treasures, Flawless, Mosaic. Pick the top 5 to 6 brands, or maybe all the sports card brands. They just want to buy the rights to use those names and likenesses in regards to brands. So they could put out Fanatics Prism Basketball, or Fanatics Flawless, or Topps Flawless, or Topps Prism. Maybe they brand it as Topps, or maybe they come up with their own naming conventions on it. That would allow them to have multiple flagship products. If they did that, they could come out with a Fanatics Prism and basketball, and they could come out with a Fanatics Topps Chrome basketball. If baseball could be printed, if baseball licensed Prism came out, I still think a majority of people would want Topps Chrome, but there would probably be a segment of the new generation that would flock to Prism Baseball if it was licensed. Or imagine Flawless and NT Baseball, but licensed. Whether it's called Fanatics Flawless, or maybe they put Topps branding on it. Topps National Treasures Baseball. They could brand everything under Topps, but bring the other naming conventions over to it, because I think that's what's valuable. If they didn't want to do that, as we discussed before, they could just release everything under Topps. Topps Chrome Basketball was a thing. They could do that again if they really want to. The interesting elephant in the room is Upper Deck and what happens there. We've discussed that, and I don't think we're going to know anything on that. I was on with Norn at the Sketch Card Hive, kind of talking about the non-sports card angle on that, because Upper Deck is big on Marvel and Star Wars, along with Topps as well. So there's some interesting angles there on the non-sports card side of things. And then Upper Deck obviously has hockey. They have Jordan, they have LeBron, they have Gretzky, they have Tiger Woods. So there's some interesting athletes that are tied up with Topps, or with Upper Deck, that they could make a play for. But I do think that's the way that it's headed. They're going to want to control this thing from top to bottom. So any angle that you can think of that they can control / create from start to finish of a sports card product, assume that's going to be a thing. I don't understand the NFT space at all. But I could assume some sort of NFT product and or integration when you buy packs or boxes. And do they even have sealed boxes anymore? Or is it just packs? Who knows? The one assumption we're all making, and I think it's a safe assumption, is that they are going to keep products relatively the same. Like, you buy a case, there's 12 boxes in a case, there's 36 packs in a box, whatever. They could technically throw that all out the window, come up with their own harebrained system, and start from scratch. That's on a page somewhere. Like, that could happen. I don't think it will. I think they know better than to completely disregard the way things have been. But I guarantee there's some newfangled product that has some new angle that none of us are thinking about right now, for sure. So on one hand, it's very exciting. On one hand, it is a little bit scary. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, this affects card values in any way, like current stuff. Topps is most likely going to continue on, so I don't think we see a last set of Topps. I do agree. Two things I really agree with. Jeff Wilson, Sports Card Investor, did a video about this. And two things that I really latched onto that I would like to see. One is, I hope that the current companies don't overprint these last few years, because they could really just say screw it and just run the presses into the ground. That would be dangerous and scary. So going forward from here for the next few years till we get some clarity, that part could be a little dicey. You might want to be a little bit more selective, like on what rookies you go after, that sort of thing. Not dive head first in if all of a sudden there's all these products coming out. And I do think it makes a lot of sense. I think Jeff mentioned this, and I know I've seen this other places as well, that there really should be like a product designed for kids. And whatever it is, it's a base level product, put some shiny inserts in it, but just print that thing to demand. Like if people are ordering it, just keep printing it. And the investors slash collectors know that this is not a serious product. It's designed that there is always something that a kid can go online and buy and have a box of cards delivered to them to rip some packs open, whatever. And just print it until, just keep printing it. When the orders stop coming in, stop printing it. At some point in time, you have a cutoff. And mentioning that, going into buying a store, I would be shocked if Target and Walmart are even on the scene anymore. I think big box retail for cards is done. Done. You'll be able to buy it through them and through their stores, their brick and mortar stores, maybe like team shops and stuff. The other big thing, and once again, Jeff mentioned this as well, the leagues have an equity share in this now, and the players. Whereas before they didn't. So what that could mean is I think we see a lot more talk about sports cards by the players and leagues themselves. Like, you don't see advertisements for Prism basketball on Christmas Day games. When Fanatics takes over, I have a feeling that changes. I think you're going to see athletes ripping more on IG and stuff like that and being more involved in the hobby because they have a stake in the game now. Because they have a percentage. So it's going to be to their best interest for the league and the players to push this marketing wise. So I think that's something that we definitely see a lot more of as well. I hope that they do still keep the investment side in mind. And like, the most recent example is Panini ruining Select. I hope they do still have set product lines that are geared more towards us that want to actually, potentially invest / flip sports cards and not have something like with what Panini did to Select this time around with making it retail and putting it into the ground and all that stuff. So I hope that they have those products, like we mentioned earlier, that you can print to your heart's content, but they do have more limited stuff. And hopefully they're on top of combating bots. I think that'll be a big key because I think most sealed product that you buy is going to come directly from them. I really do think they're going to cut out a lot of the middlemen. So curious for your thoughts now that we've all had, 5 days or so to kind of marinate on all this. Let me know in the comments down below. Agree, disagree. What are you guys and girls thinking these days now that you've had the time to kind of like take in and process all this information? But like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.